Hello everyone, welcome to our second episode. We are quite happy to have our guest speaker, Joanna. Hi Joanna.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. So Joanna is the founder and the CEO of Destined Digital, who is specializing in digital marketing. And surprisingly, Joanna, I just had a conversation with you this morning.
Yeah.
You were not the digital marketing, you were not in that field when you were doing your study.
Correct.
So maybe you can give a little background of yourself,
Yeah.
of how do you even embark on this journey?
Sure. So my name is Joanna Destiny and I am 27 this year in August. Right. And yeah, you're right. So I started as a psychology student. I did my diploma in psychology. I also wasn't in the science stream when I was doing my SPM either.
Right.
I took like ICT and stuff like that. And then I went into psychology as a diploma and then I did my degree right after. And I fully graduated like genuinely thinking I was gonna stay in the field and do psychology forever.
Right.
And so I got an offer to do my master's in clinical psychology. I passed the interviews and everything, paid a booking fee for uni, and then I realized at the time at least, right, this was like maybe 2017 to 2019, around that era.
Right.
Psychology wasn't really fruitful in Malaysia yet. Like and it's expensive to pay for, especially a master's in clinical.
Right.
But then your return, like your ROI is very slow and very long. Like it takes a long time.
Right.
And I'm not from like a rich background. So I knew that making money was gonna have to be a priority. So honestly, I can't say that I entered marketing for the love of the game at the start. It was just that I really think the entry point, the learning curve is quite low for just entry point. Like to scale is different now, but just to enter is quite easy. So I went into social media because I always did social media. So I actually ditched the marketing masters, the counseling masters, and I went into marketing instead. And I started at an agency, also in Damansara area at the time. And I was like a content writer, something like that. But then it was one of those like really small agencies where I did everything. So I was like the one-man department.
Right.
And that was like a recurring theme later on, which I now think really helped prepare me for what I do today.
Correct.
But yeah, so it was a very unusual, but at the same time, I feel like psychology and marketing are not the most different. Like you use a lot of psychology in marketing anyway. So I think there's like a bit of connection there, like in my opinion. I like to think so. So yeah, then that's how I ended up in marketing. I worked in-house for a bit. I worked at agencies for a bit. And then I finally decided to start my own marketing agency.
Right. Now, the transition from psychology to social media is something that I think it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
Especially for those you have people who are book smart.
Yeah.
People who may not be street smart, right? Because it requires, psychology requires people skills, interpersonal skills and all these things, which in a way quite common. It is quite standard in terms of the services line, which is what you're doing now also, right? Now, when you transition from that graduate, that field all the way to social media.
Yeah.
Now, I think the first question I would have to ask you, what does your parents think about it?
I think they don't care. Like they didn't care at the time. And I'm also now not very close with my family, just like as a background. But even at the time, I think they understand that like we needed to do things that were more fruitful in terms of economically. And so I think they supported it. Like they were just like, okay, like I guess you're trying this. Because they were aware like we cannot afford to pay for a master's in clinical regardless of like what we think the ROI will be. So I think they were just like...
Because a lot of parents will be thinking like, hello, I've invested like maybe like half a mil for your degree and all these things, and then you come to say, you know what, I want to do.
I don't want to do it at all.
Like screw that degree. I want to just go straight to like things I want to do, which is good. I think not many parents will do that.
Yep.
But what gives you that how to put it, that confidence for you to switch that role? What is a thing that in a way prompted you to be like, you know what? Screw psychology, let's do social marketing?
Good question. I think at the time I had an older friend who was in marketing. So I was like, if I was 19, she was like 21 maybe. And so she was in marketing and she was very girl boss love in like every sense of the word. So even though she just worked for someone else, she had such a like gung-ho behavior about it. She was so passionate about it. I feel like at the time it rubbed off on me. And it made me realize, like I think I learned a lot of things by seeing her talk about it, just that. And for someone that grew up on social media, I also used to do YouTube when I was younger.
Right.
Yeah, so I used to like do it for fun. I used to love Instagram when I was in high school. And like, I think I grew up in the era of like understanding social media and like seeing what works, what doesn't work. So for me, I really felt like it felt natural to me. It's like, what can you do naturally? Like social media. So like, okay. And I also used to write a lot of articles and blog posts and stuff like that. And so that's why I went into content writing first. And then that eased me into social media and like marketing itself and like ads and performance marketing. So I would say like for me, it felt like the entry point was low in terms of my interest and the relation that it had to where I ended up. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So there must be, I think you have the trait of doing the digital marketing things and the trait of not being camera shy. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think because of the YouTube that I used to do when I was younger. Yeah.
Right. So with that in mind, then you come out from this psychology field, go straight to marketing. Then you started off with an agency.
Yeah.
And then how many years do you work in an agency?
I only lasted a few months. I lasted a few months at the agency. I think I was being paid about 2,000 ringgit.
Right.
And
this was
like 2021, around there, like 2020, I want to say around there.
Right.
I would still say that classes as quite underpaid especially at the time, right? And then around 2021, 2022 so I felt like it was quite underpaid, but I started realizing that I was doing so many people's jobs. And then I started looking outward, and then after that I kind of, once I spent maybe I would say 5 months in this role, I kind of realized there's a lot more to marketing than just writing. Even though I was very passionate about it, I didn't see the potential to scale this skill that much. Like I didn't want to be just kind of boxed into writing. And I realized I need to kind of go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. And so I actually applied for an internship.
Right.
So even though I had a full-time role, I backtracked and I applied for an internship in social media. Yeah. And then I like took obviously a pay cut, but like not that significant because I wasn't paid much anyways. And then like I did the social media internship at an in-house company for about 6 months, and then I got promoted to full-time. So I did a digital marketing executive role for almost, I think, over 2 years. And that one, I would say, equipped me for like a long time because I was the only digital marketer for this brand in the in-house like company. And so I did everything. I did newsletters, I ran ads, I did copywriting, I did all of the budget allocations, like everything. And I feel like that role was so significant for me in like setting me up for what I do now. And then after that, I was like, okay, I kind of hit a wall because you're in-house, there's only one product in that company, and I like did everything I could to sell it already.
Right.
I hit a couple of milestones, but it was like not much you can do. And so I realized I need to go back to an agency because you work for so many clients, like your work is kind of endless a little bit. And then I moved back into agency. I worked for Dyson for a while as well. And I think Dyson and also this in-house position made me realize I was not built for in-house because I get bored.
Right.
So I end up feeling very jaded and kind of bland about everything I do, and I kind of want more, but then the company can't give you more to do because that's kind of, everyone has a role already and they usually hire external agencies and stuff. And so I went back into an agency. I would say that I actually did have a bit of a calling, I call it, like to start an agency myself, but I was too scared. So I kind of jumped from job to job and I was quite unsatisfied, and I didn't realize that I was the common denominator until the very end. But yeah, I would say like it really set me up lah. Having this like in-house position really set me up to prepare me. Yeah.
Right. So in which year did you set up your own company?
Last year. It's been less than 1 year. I would say July 2025.
Right. So you took a huge leap on having stable income every month to having no safety net. So how do you then overcome it? Like the thought of jumping it out.
Okay. Know? I will say that I was forced. I didn't have a choice anymore. And so there's two answers to this.
Right.
Number one is I did have a safety net, which is my husband and his stable career. So I love it, recommend it. But number two is like the actual genuine, very, very difficult answer is that I have a chronic illness. And so I was at an agency that I would say was my dream job. It was the agency that, it's kind of one of those agencies that like go viral on TikTok a lot and like it just looks so fun. And I went there in person and the experience actually somewhat matched my expectations as well. It was really my dream job. I was earning the most I've ever earned. And like it was stable, like you said, and the company culture was great, the people are great. It opened so many doors for me and I was working really hard and I was so excited.
Right.
And then I got really sick to the point where I had to be bedridden and I was like just not well. And because I was so new, I hadn't even passed probation yet. And I realized I cannot afford to stay on knowing that I'm so sick. Because I was like spending nights awake and I was like sleeping in the morning. It was just a really bad pattern. And so I kind of recognized like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I cannot balance this illness and also working full time. And so I quit that job, and it really sent me into a pit. I was so disappointed in myself because I think only a few months back, I was telling my husband, I'm like, I feel like I made it now. Like I'm at the peak of my life.
Right.
Everything is coming together, like life has a meaning. And then all of a sudden, everything stopped. Like my income, and at the time I was working multiple jobs. I was tutoring, I was baking, and I was doing this agency job. And so I was like hustling, right? And then I had to stop everything. So it was really dark. It was a very dark time. And so I was kind of in bed for about 3 months, I would say. I didn't move. I couldn't do anything. I barely had the energy to brush my hair. I would get tired so fast because fatigue was like a big part of my illness as well. And then I remember I was like crying every single night. And I constantly felt like such a burden because obviously my husband is paying for everything. He's supporting me.
Right.
And I didn't plan to quit my job. So I didn't even have a substantial savings like set up yet. So I was like, I'm relying on him entirely, and it's just like not a great environment or experience for me at all. And then I remember after so many times I kept telling him, I feel so useless. I feel so useless. I kept saying that every night. And then one day he told me, then you just do something to make yourself feel useful. And I was really angry. I was like, what the heck?
Typical,
yeah. If you know him,
answer.
And if you know him, you know it's such a he answer, right? I was like, that is so rude. I can't believe you would say that to me. I was so offended. And then I think he said that, and then he left for work. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's so rude. And then he left, and I was like, okay, kind of true. Like, because I actually, surprisingly, I registered Destined as a business in January last year. But I was still working another job. So it kind of just sat there.
Right.
Because I felt this thing in me. Like I knew from my in-house job prior to this agency and during the agency, even when I applied for the agency and I got it, even though it was my dream job, there was something in me that was like, this is not the move. Like you're making the wrong move. But I was too scared lah. It's like starting your own company without anything. It's like not very plausible in your mind, right? And so it was like really, I was forced lah. And then when he said that, he was like, you already registered it. How about you just lay in bed, but you take your laptop and you start building a website. Like that was his advice. And I was like, I hate you. Go to work. And then he goes to work, and I was like, okay, kind of true. So that's how it started. I sat down and I was like, okay, fine. I guess I have nothing to lose. So let me do this as a hobby. I'll just start writing articles. I'll just like make sure that I don't forget what I know about marketing.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it started. So in bed, I like started my website. I built it up. I designed it. I started writing articles, and then I started running ads. And then I got my first client. It was like that. It was like kind of sudden. I think within my first month, once I did this, I got my first client, like with no portfolio at all. So it was like very, very lucky.
Right.
Which like kind of I think it solidified for me that the calling I felt was correct lah. Like I was meant to start it. Yeah.
So then, do you mind walking us through your journey? Like since the first month of you doing everything on your own.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of how your husband nags you all the time.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of all the way to like today. And like,
yeah, of course. Yeah. It was rough. So at the start, I got my first retainer client, and I was over the moon about it.
That was your first month?
Yeah, correct. In my first month. And it was like a 3-month retainer. It was a skincare brand. And ever since I worked at agencies, I always prayed for an account that was skincare or beauty or makeup or something like that. And then obviously you don't choose what accounts you get assigned, right? And so I never got it. And for me, it was such a sweet moment of like my first month doing this, and I have a skincare brand. But obviously like, I was so constantly worried about the longevity of it and like where does this go. And because I didn't really have time to establish the company, it was such a whim thing, right? When I got this client, I did everything myself. So I ran her ads myself, I did the designs myself, and you can tell because it does not look good. And I did everything myself. And I would say that this client really took a chance on me. And then I had like a couple more people, like friends of friends or family friends, that were like, hey, we have this business, like will you just kind of like do a couple of posts for us? And so I started taking more. And then I had a friend at the time who was in between jobs, so she freelanced for me. Like I would just pay her a couple hundred of whatever I had, and then she would like help me take pictures and take videos and stuff. And so it was me for a couple of months, and then it was the two of us. And it was so unstable and rocky. And then like, I don't even remember now. I think my first employee or team member, I only got them like this year, I want to say, like earlier this year. So up to that point, it was just me and this friend. And we had this spa client as well, which was such a big deal for us. It was like, when you add up the retainer, it was a 5-figure retainer. It was such a big deal to me because it was like so promising. And this was like towards middle to end of last year. So we are so new. We really, really didn't have a portfolio yet. And it really like all of those clients at the time took a chance on us. And in the in-betweens, definitely there were months where we didn't have clients, where I ran ads, I got like hundreds of inquiries, and then they went nowhere. And like so many times I'll just be sitting and replying to people constantly and like trying to get a new client. I would sit on calls because I do free consultation calls as well.
Right.
And I would sit for so long talking to people and it went nowhere. And during those moments, it was again like my husband's support really carried because he was the safety net. Like he was the financial safety net as well.
He had to laugh.
Yeah, he had to. Like he was the, the stable partner and the unstable partner. It was like that. And like he was the one that was constantly encouraging me. And I think it really helps having someone that's like not spiteful or angry or resentful about your journey, even at their expense. Like I would really say that me getting to fulfill my dream of starting an agency was at the start at his expense.
Right.
And even then, like I didn't feel judged for it, but he was just like, you can do it. Like I will give you the space and you can figure it out. And like every time I couldn't like pay my half of the rent or like pay some bills, he was like, you just worry about getting clients. Like you don't have to think about it. And I think it really helped because I got to clear my head and only worry about my business, which is such a privilege. I don't think a lot of people have that.
Correct.
And I don't think if I didn't have him, I also wouldn't have it lah. So I was like very grateful. And that was like the fire under my ass lah, so to speak. It was like, you have to do this and it has to work. And also, once I felt what it was like working for myself, especially because I was still ill at the time.
Right.
Like I was having a really bad flare up. So I needed the flexibility of sleeping when I needed to and resting. And I would say like, I didn't want to give up. Like I felt how it felt to work for myself, and I realized like I can never go back to working for someone else. Like I'm kind of stuck. This has to work. I have no plan B. This really has to work. And so it was like that. Like there were months where I didn't have income, and I was kind of like constantly nurturing leads and begging people to give me a chance. And then this year we started getting more clients in a bit more of like it was in a row. It was like very new to us because it was like this client is still going on and then there's a new one and then a new one. And it was like, okay, this is something. And so I finally had confidence. I started getting interns because it's like the stability of it is so scary, right? And so I started getting interns, and then just recently we got our first full-timer.
Right.
And then just after that, I think less than a month in, we got our second full-timer as well. So we're about a team of 8 now, and all of that kind of happened this year. I would say like only a few months ago, I was telling my husband like, I can't wait to not do this alone. I can't wait to outsource and have help. Right. And then it was like sudden. It was like within a few months, we actually have a team. So I think it was like, it looks fast from the outside, but from my perspective, it was such a slow, kind of like painful journey as well. Like a lot of uncertainties. Like still lah, I think it never gets easier. Like you'll always be like, is this the right move? And like
correct. I think that's the same thing as what we have also. I mean, we have in common in terms of running a business. You never know what's going to happen next. You never know there's going to be income next month. You still have to pay your employees, your staff, and all these things, right? Now, with that, how, let's say those months where you have no income, of course, let's put Ivan aside. Let's put husband aside, all right? So, how do you then overcome your own, what do you call that? Your own mental or your own worry, you know? Like, of course, money is one thing, but your mental, your insecurity, you know, your thoughts and things like that are like, shit, I don't have income coming in next
like what's
month.
gonna happen?
What's gonna happen? I have my commitments to pay and things like that. Right.
Okay, I will say, so this goes back to when I said I felt like this was a calling for me. I felt like I was being told like this was my purpose and like I needed to do this. When that happened, I was, because I'm Christian, I always pray about every decision that I make and everything, right? So at the start of this journey, I had this process where I kind of said, okay, you asked me to do this, like at God, you asked me to do this. I will work as hard as I've ever worked, but you have to meet me in the middle. And if it doesn't work, I'll take it as a sign that I was wrong.
Right.
So I would say the short answer is so much faith in God and His provision. Like that was the thing that I always prayed for. So I always said that I will do this well, I will do this ethically, I will do it right. I will work so hard, and that's my word and my share of this promise, but you have to give me the provision for it, and I will do the rest. I'll do all of the work. Right. And that carried me through. So every single time I started to worry, I went back to my promise, and I went back to this itch that I felt to start this business. Like I knew that there was something telling me to do it. And so I went back to that faith in like, okay lah, this is on you. Like you asked me to do this and I will do my best. And I can say it never failed. Like even the short moments where nothing happened, those moments I would realize there was something else I needed to do. For example, I needed to fix our systems for a while. Or I needed to take that time to like actually come up with organization internally. And it was those gaps without clients that I was able to be free enough to do those things. So I took it as like, I kind of just consulted God lah, I would say, in everything. So I just kind of went back like, what do I do here? And I can very safely say the provision is non-stop. Like I've not gone without a month of income. my team has not gone unpaid like even a day.
That's
so it's
good.
like, I will say that was it lah. My faith really carried me through, because it was like, I started this when I had nothing to lose, and I was like, okay lah, he has provided this far, like he will continue to provide, and then he has lah. Yeah, I would say it's God for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, then coming in the employer's POV now, right? That's a very, very tricky question.
Yeah.
Coming from an employer's POV, now that you were an employee back then,
Yeah.
and now you are an employer, now, what is the thing that you see or the trait that you would expect an employee, especially in this field, right? That what do you expect he or she to have for you to be able to taking him full time?
I love this question.
Yeah. So it's a bit tricky, but don't worry. I guess you have been a long enough employee, so I think now you're an employee, and suddenly the perspective shift. Like,
correct.
It's like, oh
correct.
shit, I think my boss was right.
correct. Oh, I have so many moments like this.
Yeah.
I will say the trait that I look for the most is assertiveness. And I really hate to say it, but I'm Gen Z as well, so I can say it, I think. I would say that there is a tendency to wait for someone to show us the way. And I think that's a norm now. And I'm not sure if it's because everything is so easily like searchable that someone's always giving us the answer.
Right.
But I tend to see this trait in a lot of Gen Z employees, or just like generally, I think all of my employees are Gen Z. And I see this trait of like asking you what's next before they kind of try to think of it themselves.
Yeah.
And for me, when I was employed, especially my first proper marketing role, one thing my boss always asked me when I asked him a question was, what do you think? And it really like rewired my brain for me. And I look for that now. So I'm always asking like, how are you independently? As well as because we are entirely remote.
Yeah.
So I have no control over my employees. I really need to trust that you care enough about your work and you are assertive. So I really look for that. If it's like, once I start seeing traits in team members where it's like, I really can tell they're not trying before they ask, that is something that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. It's something I notice. Yeah. Assertiveness is
Assertiveness, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of these employees' POV, of course they'll be saying things like, "Oh, boss pay me more lah."
Yeah.
You know, I work so hard on these things and all these things. Then how do you then measure the pay and the performance?
That's a very good question.
As the employer's perspective.
So one of the things, when I said just now that I will put ethics first in this, right?
Right.
There have been so many scenarios where I was doing a whole department's work and I was not getting paid for it. And when I say I was not getting paid for it, I really mean they're not livable wages. And so now, when I hire someone, whether it's an intern or not, because we also have some overseas interns, because we're remote, right? I always, number one, check what's the average pay in their region that makes it livable for them. I always talk to my team about, do you guys pay your own rent? Like, are you living by yourself? All of these things, and their lifestyle and everything, I really take into account when I determine their salary. And to make it fair for the business and for myself, I always tell them, like, I'm paying you this amount and you know that it's above like market. But in return, I just ask that you're passionate and it translates in your work.
Right.
And so that's the way that I determine it. And for example, even recently, one of our freelancers, she's a freelance account manager. And when we hired her, the rate that we were paying was like 350 or something like that, because it's super flexible. You just reply clients when they text and that's all I need you to do. And then she started doing more and she asked for 450. I agreed. And then I observed that she was like staying up late to finish up stuff. So I gave her 500. And then recently she had a discussion with me after 1.5 months or so. And she was like, I think, can I ask for a pay raise? Like, I'm doing this and this and this. And I was like, fair, I think you do deserve a pay raise. So we went to 600. And then just recently I noticed that she was actually picking up slack from one of her other team members a lot. So I raised it up again to like 400 ringgit more. And I don't feel sad doing it because when they do good work, we get more clients and clients are retained.
Right.
To me, it's like, I really am so aware that I rely on a strong team. So I don't feel shy to share my income with them. I would rather take a normal pay, which I do now. I take a very normal salary, even though our revenue is like decent. But I feel good knowing that my team is paid well and that they're paid fairly. So for me, it's like, I have very high expectations for work and they know it. And I'm very blunt with my work, like reviews and stuff. So in my mind, it's very like, I know that it must be fair if I'm gonna expect you to do good work, I want you to feel like you're fairly compensated. So they cannot turn around and tell me, but you're not even paying me enough to care.
Right.
Yeah, because I felt like that before. So I would be like, okay, that's fair. It's fair if you feel that way, and I don't want you to feel that way.
Right.
So I try to pay them fairly, but there have been times where they're like, can you compensate for this? And I'm like, you're asking too much. Like, I didn't ask you to do this.
Right.
So you did it at your own accord. Like, I cannot afford to compensate you for it. Yeah, but I try to be very fair, I would say.
Have you ever faced any employees who, you'll be like, I want to check it him or her?
Yeah, of course.
And then you were like, how?
Of course, I have. And like, it goes back to the assertion. I think sometimes when employees are not assertive or they are not picking up their weight or like pulling their weight or picking up their slack and their other team members are getting affected, it really upsets me because it's like really not fair.
Correct.
And I do feel that way, but I try to show grace. I vent a lot privately to my husband, like about these things. And he's very level-headed. Like as a person, he will not react to things. He's very like, you throw anything at him also, it's like, right? And he helps me because I'm very like, why are they not understanding? And he's so calm and he'll be like, because they're new lah. Like they're not from this industry. Because one thing I do is I love giving people the chance that people gave me. So when I came in from psychology, someone took a chance on me to let me in marketing. I try to do that for my team. So if you're from another background, I will let you have the chance to learn and I will teach you as much as I can and give you all the resources you need. Because maybe one day you will feel like me as well. And you're like, I know this industry and I'm happy to be in here. And so he has to remind me sometimes, and I have to remind myself, it comes with a price lah. Like if you're giving a chance to people who don't speak this language, like to you it's common sense, but it doesn't mean it is to them.
Correct.
So I have to show grace. I will say it's very, very hard. And I, again, am very blunt. Like I'm very, very blunt with my team. Like sometimes they're like, I'm so sorry, I messed up. And I'm like, I don't want you to be sorry. I just want you to fix it. Like I don't need you to be emotional about it. I just need you to do the work and do it correctly. And I'm always open to them asking questions. I'm very open about their learning process. So I always tell my team that I will be upset if you are making a choice and it's a bad choice. But if it's not your choice, I will never get angry. For example, if you don't know it, and even though I'm explaining it to you, you can't get it, that's not really your choice. Like, it just happens that way. But if you know that you're behind on a deadline and you're kind of suffering and you're drowning, you don't tell anyone, you don't tell the team, you don't tell me, and then we bomb in front of clients, that was a choice. So that I will react to that.
Correct.
So I try to give them this rule of thumb lah. It's like when you can fix it internally, you're not too far gone. But if the mess up is too big until clients are noticing, then we didn't fix it fast enough. So I give grace lah. I will say I give a lot of grace, but I'm also very blunt, so they know the expectations like at every turn.
Okay, then let's say you in terms of your industry, normally the rate of charging clients, it varies, right?
Yep.
Like from certain scope of works all the way to maybe like a huge event and things like that. So normally, how normally do you charge the clients based on the things that you do?
Good question. So I actually charge the client based on the amount of experience we have as a team. Going back to the fact that I hire people without marketing experience, and also the fact that this is a relatively new agency, and one of the intentions I had when I started the agency was, I've worked at agencies that were really unethical, whereby as a business they're very successful, but the margins were come by in a very unethical way lah. Like the way they achieve such incredible margins were by shortchanging people, not paying their KOLs that they worked with, or like you charge the client maybe 200,000, but then the cost of the project is 12,000. To me, that's super bad. Like I don't want to be rich if that's how I'm getting rich lah. Which like of course there's like two sides to the coin. It's like some people will think that's not very wise and like you will slow down getting wealthy, but it's okay to me. And so like I take that into account now, where I try to charge fairly. So I think of my team, I think of my resources, I think of paying myself, and then I up a little bit to have a margin still. And I charge it where my intention is still, I want digital marketing services to be accessible to everyone. So we have clients that have just started their brand and they don't have a budget and they only have 1,500 a month. And we will literally customize a package for them that allows them to stay on a retainer for 1,500 a month for starters. And we always tell them, once we start seeing metrics of success, we will up our prices lah when you can afford. But at the time being, we still want to be accessible. So we do have our fair share of big clients and then our fair share of very, very small clients. We have clients ranging from like 1,500 to 2,000 a month. And those are like still important to me because I really value these clients as well. Because at the end of the day, if there's ever a delay or a gap, it's these little amounts that add up to something and you can still pay your team. So I really value these small clients, but I would say that our prices are really, really affordable. There are still businesses that are like, 3K is too much for me for a month, even 1K is too much, can you do 800? So we try not to go below 1,500 because we do have a lot of resources to pay for. But I would say that's quite affordable. Like for a marketing
Right.
agency, you get photographer, videographer, account manager, marketing person, like a lot of services in one. We do websites as well. So I would say like it's quite affordable for like 1,000 something for some businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
So have you experiencing clients telling you that, look, hey, that marketing agency charged me this much?
Yes.
Why is it yours is so expensive?
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
and then you have people who undercut you,
Yeah.
things like that. It happens also in
Oh,
the industry.
so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, one thing that I always tell clients is, you cannot judge us by the means of your experience or an environment of another agency, because our circumstances are different, and there's a lot of perks that we offer that they may not offer, and vice versa. So a lot of clients actually come to me and say things like, for example, we take a deposit to get paid, right? And they will say like, can we pay you only if you hit this amount of deliverables, or
Right.
only if you do this, because we had this agency and we paid so much money and they didn't do anything. And I always say like, we cannot be judged by another agency's actions. That doesn't really make sense for me. Like, it doesn't compute.
Right.
Because it doesn't work that way. Like, it's kind of like dating. Finding an agency that works for you is really like dating. Like, you cannot really apply the same schema for one person to everyone.
Correct.
In a way, you have to kind of go and like erase the drawing board and start from scratch every single time.
Yeah.
Every first date you have, you start from scratch.
Yeah.
It's like that. Finding your match, I cannot be judged by another person and your experience with them.
Correct.
So we do try to remind clients that we still put ethics first, and we still put like a good work first. Our standards are very high internally, and it will show lah. And we're so blessed because we actually have portfolio and like examples to show people. And so we can say like, hey, like this is what we did, and this agency also paid us upfront.
Right.
Like this business also paid us upfront, and like this is the work we produced. And like we even had a client recently that was like, that just signed on with us, that had a bad experience with another agency, and they were saying like, we were not happy, like can we cut down the price with you, or can you do this and can you do that? And first it's like not really fair lah. And also she said, for example, she was like, can we only pay you after you've completed all your deliverables, and also like what happens if you're late? And it was so interesting because she's like, what happens if you guys are late? And I had no answer except that we are not late. Like we have very strict internal deadlines. And so I was like, I want to comfort you, but my only thing is the truth, and that we will not be late. It's not an option to us internally. We're very careful. And so, yeah, the team has like brands with crazy deliverables. It's like 10 videos a month, 5 statics a month. We do their, like whatever else for them as well. There's like so many things every month, and we've never been late even by a day. So it's like the team works very hard and I'm very confident, and I think that helps me sell. Because I know what I'm selling, and I don't promise things to clients that I don't think my team has capacity for. There's even times where I've delayed getting clients because I knew my team was at full capacity. So I waited until we hired first.
Right.
And so I'm like very aware of like what's happening internally and everything. And so like I try to take that honesty and really reflect it to the clients, to the point where if I really have to lose that client because they don't take our word, I'm kind of okay with it lah. Because I know like what I'm saying is true, and you will see it. So I give them 1 month trials lah. If they're too scared to sign a retainer, I'm like, okay, you do 1 month with us and you see how it is first. And then you can sign a retainer. And it gives them a bit of sense of confidence, yeah.
Right. So then it requires you a lot of thinking, right? In terms of your creativity.
Yeah.
Right? Because in a way, you're a content creator.
Yeah.
You create ads, you create videos and editing and all these things, right? You need certain things. I mean, you see, there are a lot of marketing agencies out there, right? There are a lot of them. And who, like for example, we have the very famous one in Malaysia. We have like one of the locals one. We have Christina Kwan. We have Jane Chak. All these celebrities and all these things, right? So, how then do you try to everyday keep up with that level, or with that pace and the momentum? You see, because you'll be like, sometimes you have a bad days.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have your good days also, but sometimes you're just like, I'm just so tired
Yeah.
of thinking out of the box of like, okay, how do I shoot out to this client? How do I be more creative for this post?
Like stand out against everyone.
Correct. So how do you then keep up with that?
I will say that my really, really honest answer is I don't. I actually don't compare us to other agencies.
Right.
And this is very intentional. Some days I start comparing and I immediately stop myself. And the reason for that is because I'm very aware enough to know we all don't start from the same place. So there's really, really no sense in me comparing, because I don't know the resources someone else started with. I don't know their connections that allowed them to have more clients, or how much work they put in to get more clients. I have no idea what other people's circumstances are, how many years they've been in the industry, even before starting an agency. These are all factors that really like make your experience so different.
Right.
So I don't spend the time trying to see what other people are doing, or trying to compete, or even say like, oh, this person knows so much, like I need to keep up. I really, really don't. There's I feel like I'm super passionate about my industry, that my passion is not going to run out. And I'm not in the bubble. I'm aware of what people are doing, but I don't try to race and keep up.
Right.
And like, because I know that I will get where I need to get in time. And sometimes I do start to compare myself. Like even I'll see like previous bosses and stuff like achieving something cool, right? And I feel this tinge of like envy sometimes where I'm like, oh, it must be nice. Like I can't wait to get there. But I immediately correct myself because it's like they put in years before I did. There's so many circumstances that make us so different. So I don't do it. I'm super grateful as well. I would say I'm too busy being grateful. There was so many reasons this wouldn't have worked out, but it's working out. I have so many things to focus on now and clients to focus on now that I don't want to know what anyone else is doing, and I don't want to rush to try and live up to something else. The standards are so different as well. As long as we're taking care of our clients, I always tell our internal team as well, like, as frustrated as you get or as like unreasonable you think clients can be, when we get to take care of their brands, we have to act like it's our brand. We need to have this sense of ownership and care for the brand. And that's like something my heart really feels strongly about, and I really try to instill this in our team. So I will say we're too busy trying to do good work to really worry too much about keeping up pace.
Keeping up with the pace or comparing yourself with others.
Yeah, I don't think we do that. Like I wouldn't say I do that at all, really.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's
I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
That's another I mean, like, I love my job, but I can feel that you love your job more than I do.
I love my job. I'm very grateful. I'll say like I'm very grateful that I get to do this.
And your husband as well.
Yeah,
I suppose,
correct.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now then, with so many things in mind, that you have so many things to do, your schedule is going to be very packed. Even I think you work on weekends as well.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Then how do you juggle your time with your husband, with your parents, with your family, your friends, and sometimes you yourself? You know, you need to have your me time, right?
Yeah.
So how do you then juggle all these things together?
I am learning. I would say that especially this year we've gotten so busy and we suddenly started scaling. I am still learning how to do that. There are days where someone's trying to tell me something, like one of my family members tried to talk to me, and I get frustrated at them because I feel like they don't understand how busy I am replying to someone right now or like putting out a fire. But my husband started telling me to schedule in time. So if he sees me upset or frustrated or stressed, he will say, okay, I'm gonna schedule in time for you now. Like opens calendar and tells me on this day you're not doing anything else. Like you're going for a massage and you're resting and you're doing this with your friends. And I think that kind of is like sticking to me now. So nowadays when I get really frustrated, I also remind myself and my team a lot. I always say, no one's gonna die. We work in marketing. Like it feels like everyone's dying every day, but it's not that big of a deal. And I try to tell myself the same thing. So sometimes I will just in the middle of the day go and have another shower because it gives me like time alone and to like de-stress. And I just do these little pockets of like breathing in between. But also when I was working for someone else, I didn't like working on weekends, working overtime. Because to me it was like, this is not my dream, it's your dream. So like you are paying me for a certain scope and I will do that. But now, because I love my agency,
the rule has shifted.
I don't mind. Yeah, it's like I will work every weekend. I'll work in the middle of the night. After I go socialize, that's the thing. Like yesterday, for example, we went and like visited someone that we know in the hospital, and like we went and had dinner with friends and everything. When I came back home, I continued working, and I don't feel resentful about it because it's my work. It means that we have work to do, and I'm very grateful for that.
Right.
So I don't feel too like upset that I don't have time for myself because I'm still enjoying it. I'm not so burnt out yet.
Right.
Yeah, but I do try to find pockets of air. But I do make sure to tell my team not to work on weekends because they're not getting paid enough.
Right.
Like I do tell them it's at your discretion lah. If you really see, because sometimes they end up getting this sense of ownership as well, because they are dealing with these certain clients that when clients reply on weekends, they also want to reply back. But I do tell them not to make it a norm, and I also always tell my clients like, please don't reach out to my team during the weekends.
Right.
Like it's not their working hours. But for me, it doesn't apply lah, because it's my baby lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then coming back to the question of demanding clients, right? Like what you said, you try to not ask your team to do on the weekend, try to tell clients not to catch your team over the weekend. Now, if they are demanding clients, they don't, of course, they pay well, there's a different story. They don't pay well, there's a different story also. Now, in the situation where the client pays well, but they are very demanding, they really need the thing to be out ASAP and fast. Sometimes they just can't wait on Monday.
Yeah.
So how do you then normally tell off the clients, or do you just proceed with what the client instructed, or how?
It starts with even our discovery calls. I'm very honest with our clients about our expectations, our timelines.
Right.
So I always tell the clients these things up front. Like, we don't actually reply on the weekends. Our team works these hours. You can reach out to me, but privately. So I always tell them, like, don't reach out in the group chat because I don't want my team to feel stressed out on the weekends. Because you know that feeling, like, when you see a message about work and you're trying to rest, you immediately get distracted and like you can't rest. I don't want them to feel the same thing. I also try to explain to our clients that we need a restful team because it's such a creatively demanding job for everyone on the team. If you're expecting them to work 7 days a week, they're going to run out of creative juices. I need my team to have their relaxed time, their family time, and they come back on Monday and they have so much more ideas. And that's important. So I'm like very clear with my clients that these are the expectations. And then internally and externally as well, we are very clear about timelines with clients. So ahead of the month, before June, for example, our June decks and everything are all done already, are all approved, and we know what's happening already. So everything is very meticulously planned, so there's very little room for error. But there are occasions where, for example, the clients are like, we just saw this thing, it has to go out now. We make leeway lah, if it happens very occasionally. Because we also judge it ourselves, is it really an urgency, or if it's time sensitive, 100%, we'll always like make room for whatever. But what I do is I try not to let it affect my team. If I can handle it myself, then I will. So sometimes like clients are like, we really need this now. If I can do it, I'll just do it. Which is why I'm grateful to have this agency after years of experience in the industry in so many different areas. Because I can do most of the work myself. It's just that I don't have time for all our clients. So if it's urgent, likelihood is that I can do it myself. So the team is not disturbed. But demanding clients are fine, but I think we still communicate our expectations and everything very clearly.
It has to be reasonable.
Yeah, so they understand very well.
Okay. Now, because you said this year you're 27, right?
Yeah.
You started your agency last year, right? So it was 26.
Yeah.
Now, I always believe that age is not an issue.
Yeah.
Right? But how do you then able to convince clients, especially the big ones, that look, I can do it?
Yeah.
And especially that you came from the psychology background.
Yeah.
The people were asking, so how many years have you been working in this line? So do you study this, where is blah, 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 all these very typical, very stereotypical type of questions the clients have in mind. So how do you then convince the clients that, look, if you engage me, I can do what you want me to do? So with that, someone with that pressure, oh shit, big clients, okay, I need really be very, very ready,
very
convincing on this thing. So how do you then normally do it?
I don't think I really try to be so convincing. I feel like my conscience is very clear in this job. And I think that helps me so much. And now it's different. I would say at the start, when I first started, it was not easy lah, but I would be very upfront. So I would tell them like, I'm outsourcing freelancers to do this, but here's some things that I've done before when I worked for an agency. I really have what it takes. I know the processes behind it. Just take a chance. If you're really unhappy, you don't have to continue. But just give me a chance to try. And because I believe that it was very much like God providing for me, it was an easier process. I wouldn't say I had the hardest time. But now I can feel a sense of difference in my pitches to client because I'm so confident with our team. And I've seen the work we do. I've seen the results we get. So now I pitch with so much more ease. I'm like so chill when I pitch nowadays because I'm like, you want it, we can do it. Like, I'm so confident. And I always check with my team, like, this is what I'm presenting. Do you think we can actually achieve? And if they say yes, I'm so confident to pitch it. But at the start, I was very honest lah. I think that's all I was. I was just like, I cannot be competing with these people, but I make up for it in my prices lah. Like, it's worth it for you to try because it's a lot cheaper. But I will still do my best. And then when I've had clients that stayed on from then until now. And it was because I kept fulfilling my promises and I really kept my word and tried my best. So I think I was just very honest. And I was willing to accept if they said no. Like, I was willing to understand. Like, if I lose clients because I'm new, it's okay lah. So I even offered like free jobs to people where I was like, can I do this for free? Just to build a portfolio. So we had like family friends with business. I was be like, can I just make posts for you? Can I come and film? And they let me. And then like some of them paid me just to do like small things. And it helped me build a portfolio lah. So I would say I keep my word. I'm very honest and I'm like, I'm willing to accept that not everyone will take a chance on me. But I've been very, very blessed so far.
Have you lost any clients before?
Yes.
Existing clients as well? Meaning like the retainer clients?
Yes, we have had one retainer client that didn't renew. And it was like quite heartbreaking at the time. Yeah, because it was when it was just me and my friend.
That was a beginning stage.
Yeah, it was just them. Since then, no one has ended their contract with us yet.
Then how do you face that situation? How do you take it?
I was very sad, especially because it's such a cool client for me. Like I really enjoyed working for them, but I understood that my resources were just not enough anymore to keep up with what they were asking for. But it's like, you know, the whole thing of like, you're too busy to be sad. Because it's like when you lose a client, you get even busier because now you need to replace that client fast. So I don't have time to mope about it. I'm very disappointed, but I'm also so aware of like, okay lah, fair. Like it's fair that they didn't renew because we don't have these things and they need these things. So someday we will have that and then we'll be able to do it better. But my acceptance stage is quite stable. Like I will grieve it internally a little bit, but I know we have more work to do. So I'm like, okay lah, like what a shame. Like it would have been nice to have the resources. But it's okay lah. This like helps me do better next time.
If it's not for you, it's not for you.
It's not for me. Right? Yeah, correct. So we just move on lah. Try get more clients.
That's life lah.
Yeah, correct. That's like the business model, right? You lose a client, you try to gain another.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, because when I started out this business as well, this firm, I think we had the same thought of having no safety net, except you have a husband.
Yeah, oh, thank
you
God.
have a very good husband. Yeah. Ivan, I hope you're watching this, Ivan.
You better be.
Okay, so except you have a very supportive husband, a very understanding parents.
Yeah.
As for me myself, I was in a way, of course I had my girlfriend as well. I have my girlfriend and she was very understanding as well. She's been saying things like what Ivan say lah, you know, like just go ahead. You know, if you want to do, just go ahead.
Yeah, just try.
Just try because there's something to lose. Like for us, especially for lawyers, right? If you really cannot do it, or things will work out, touch wood, right? Just go back to corporate.
Yeah,
right? Just go back to work. I think just putting down the ego,
yeah.
Right? Now, let's say, touch wood, right? If your business is not sustaining, right, in the long run. Now, what is your next step? Would you feel like quitting and then go back to corporate, work for people again, or do you feel like, oh, you know what, it's okay, I'm just gonna keep doing it until I succeed?
Very good question, actually. Such a realistic perspective. I actually always say that I have no option but to make this work.
Right.
Which is like what we all say lah. No one starts a business wanting it to fail, right? But I will accept whatever comes. I will do my absolute best to make this work. But my other thing is I'm also trying to start other businesses simultaneously. So me and one of my first retainer clients, actually, we started a cosmetic company together as well.
Right.
So we concurrently run that while we're doing this in the early stages of running that. So that's my like mentality of having a few safety nets, of still having like my own businesses lah, so I can still work for myself. Hopefully if they become profitable. But I don't mind if I have to go back to corporate, because then the amount of lessons and experiences I've gotten to have in this journey is like insurmountable. It's so good and I'm so grateful to experience this so young, that if I ever have to go back to corporate, I'll probably just look at it as enjoy the perks lah. I can sleep at night not worrying about getting clients. It's someone else's problem. I'll just do the work. There are so many things I'll be grateful for in a new perspective. I think it would probably even make me a better employee now that I've been on the other side. If I have to go back, I don't mind if I ever have to go back. But like, I hope it's not an option for me. Like, the option is that I really, really make this work at any cost. But yeah, like, if I have to, then I have to. Like, it really doesn't matter. It just means like this was a fun chapter and it closed. But it's not in my plan lah.
Yeah, because most of the businessmen or business startups, right? If they fail, they have the ego.
Yeah,
you know,
correct,
they can't put on an ego. They be like, hello, I was the boss for a while.
Yeah. Now I'll go back to being someone else's employee.
Correct. So I think most people won't have the mindset, right? Now, if that ever happened to you, touch wood, all right? If that ever happened to you, we will go back to corporate practice lah. Now, of course, if there is again callings for you, that you know what, I think I should go out and start again or resume the business, right? You will do it as well, right? Right?
100%, yeah.
So now, then it comes to the business perspective in terms of your stability, right? Now, how do you normally maintain your cash flow? For example, let's say you pay your staff, you take salary for yourself as well, because you're running a sole prop now, right?
Correct.
And then you have to pay for whatever subscriptions, whatever, all the miscellaneous costs, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of cash flow, how do you normally plan it? For example, people say the 50-30-20 rule, right? How do you do it in that way?
I will say that I'm still learning this part. It's so difficult. I'm also not a numbers girl, like at all. I've never liked math. I hate it. I only like towards the middle of actually getting clients, I started even having a sheet Before that, it was like survival mode. It was like, as long as I have money coming in, thank God, like I'll move on from that. And then now we actually have things to pay for, like you said. So I actually have an accountant, like an external accountant, helping me balance my sheets now, because I realized I cannot rely on myself for this. And also there's not enough of it to do to hire like a full-time finance person yet. But I manage it this way. So I have my business account, right? That's my safety net. And like in my mind, this is how I manage it. I'll pay everyone that needs to get paid first. I'll pay all our subscriptions, and I'll take a portion of it and put it into my personal bank account. Everything else remains untouched.
Right.
And it stays there. And then I build on that. So I always track like, okay, this month I have this much, and next month I have how much. What was my growth here? Because my overheads are all the same. Because I also scale, even though it sounds fast, I scale very intentionally and very carefully as well. I'm always aware that, for example, right, before I scale, I'll always check at my lowest, what can I get by with here? Like, let's say I pay everyone else and we don't have this client, like we get rid of our biggest paying client. What happens to me? What happens to my income? So I'm very intentional in my scaling. But in terms of tracking, I just like dump everything on a sheet, constantly calculating everything on the sheet. But then I have an external accountant to help me manage, to help me understand, like, is it profitable? Like, how much more do I need to have to make it profitable? But I would say the finance part is definitely the hardest for me. I find it so confusing. Yeah, it's like really, really stressful. And like taxes, I cannot even begin talking about taxes. Like so stressful and confusing. But yeah, I'm still learning the ropes.
Right. So of course your cash flow will be affected if, let's say, that particular client doesn't pay you on time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if that's the case, how do you normally, I would say, following up with the client for payments or make reminders or chasing for payments and things like that?
Yeah.
Tell me about it, right?
Yeah, this is so hard. I have a couple of stories. I'm just thinking, should I tell them or not? Actually, like, one of the things is my husband does all my contracts for me.
Right.
Love it.
Lucky.
So good. Yeah, free legal advice, right?
Yeah.
And so there's always clauses for it, of course. Like, there's always penalties and stuff like that. But then my whole thing is, right, it's kind of like when you get a restraining order against someone. A paper to be enforced takes a lot. Like, it's quite hard. For example, we have like late fees and stuff like that, penalties, right? But how do I even then go force them to pay the late fees if they are not even paying me the original fees?
The principal sum, right?
So there's a lot of persistence. I've come to accept that there's a lot of payments that are late. I worked for another, obviously all of my clients are business owners as well. So it hurts a different type of way when they don't pay me, because I'm like, you should understand that this is our livelihood. Yeah. So I've had actually a business owner that I work with, and the payment was so low, by the way. Like, for context, it was like 1,000 ringgit. And I finished services, and he was supposed to pay me on the day that he was supposed to pay me. I finished all my services in goodwill, right? I'm like, okay, I'll just do it first. I'm going to assume that you're going to pay me. And then I finished all my services and handover, and like, it was successful. The campaigns were so good, and I did all of them, right? He didn't pay me on time. Then he was like, oh, I'll pay you tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, great, that's fine. We've all heard it. I was like, but I always have faith. I'm like, okay, yeah, he'll pay me tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I don't hear anything. And I text him again, and he's like, so sorry, like, I'm waiting for another payment to come in before I can pay you. And so, like, I can't pay you. And for me, right, that's such a red flag, because the way that I work is I make sure that my income is certain, whereby if one little thing is out of place, it doesn't mean I cannot pay everyone. I'll make sure to always have enough to pay everyone.
Right.
Not that I'm waiting for another payment baru I can pay someone. Because that's so bad. Because then they are correct. Because then they are affected. If I'm affected, it's completely fine.
Correct.
So this one really upset me, because I was like, why would you wait to pay me? Like, it's contingent on someone else paying you. That's quite that's super risky, right?
Yeah.
And then like I was following up, and at the time, like, it was one of the times where we were very low on clients as well. So it was really, our livelihood was dependent on these payments on time. And I had an intern to pay for or something like that as well. And like, I kept following up, and he started giving scam, because he was like not replying me after some time. And I was like, I think this guy's not gonna pay me.
Right.
It's like really quite bad. And I kept following up. I think he was like quite a few days late, like maybe a week plus late already. And when he paid me finally, and I also know that this person was having cash flow issues, I already knew this. But my amount was so small that I just didn't think it was that bad. And so when he did finally pay me, he's a business owner again, he finally paid me, and he was like, you cannot force someone to pay you on time. He was like, that's not how you do business. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you can't, like, he said, for example, if someone comes and buys from you, you cannot force them to pay on the spot. And I'm like, that's theft. Of course I can force them to pay on the spot. What do you mean? And so it was so upsetting, because he was like, you should know, and this person is in like a retail business. So would you ever let someone walk into your shop, buy your product, and not pay you for it? Obviously no, right? And like, all the services are completed already. Correct. So I was really, really disappointed. But it's like, what are you gonna do? If it really comes to it, I'll take legal action. I really pray it never comes to it. But we also have clients who like genuinely say like, hey, we are really struggling. I'll really try to pay by this time. I try to give grace lah, but I have an expiry date in mind. If a client repeats this like pattern of payments being late or not paying, I will cut off our contract after the retainer ends. So I usually try not to. I try not to put myself in a position where it's like we have to keep a client, because then I want to have the flexibility myself lah. So we always try to have extra clients so that if ever it comes to it that we really need to let go of a client, then we can afford to. So like, but it's really disappointing lah. I would say that it's just very disappointing. Like it's okay lah, fine, you can't pay, but just business owner to business owner, it's just it's such a letdown.
Correct.
Yeah, it's like quite sad.
Yeah. I have the same thing as well.
Right? It's like you should
Same
get it, right?
Yeah. And then
really
they'll be selling. I think recently we also acted for this one business owner also. Same line as yours, and then we have feedback from the other side to say that, you know, this field is so small, you cannot expect us to not pay on to pay on time. One thing, you cannot expect us to what do you call that, pay you without knowing what you have done, right? And then you cannot go to legal route when, you know, everything can be discussed and all these things. But
that's crazy.
But the other side has ghosted our client for so long, so that was the issue, you know. That I was like, this person has the gut to say that, which in my POV, I tried to listen to his story, and then he said, even back then when he started out in this line, in this business, same thing happened to him. You see, other people don't pay him on time and all these things, but he never take any legal action, all these things, because it's all on good faith basis. Now, then I replied and said, that is precisely the problem.
Yeah.
The problem happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You want it to happen, to repeat the same thing
correct.
now, 20 years later, and it's going to kill all the industries.
Yeah, we have to do better lah.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's why I said that, look, we are here to help the SMEs, to say, look, we don't try to normalize it.
Correct.
That late payment or non-payment, you know, is a norm that you should accept it, you know. So we are trying to be the change for that stupid mindset.
Mentality, right? Yeah,
it's
really
it's
bad.
very bad. It's very bad. Yeah. So that's why I was very shocked when you were still so nice to, you know, to like talk to them and have some good faith conversation and give them a chance to pay up in here and there. But there are clients, what if there are clients that don't pay you at all? Like really have done the job A to Z. He or she is very happy about it. Yet he or she is very demanding during the process, but they don't pay you or they ghosted you.
Very good question. So the way that we structure our payments now, in hindsight, is that we do a deposit first, about a 60% deposit, pretty hefty, and then we only release the final deliverables after the last payment is made.
Right.
So we show proof that your deliverables are done, but only after you pay, I will release the deliverables. And it's like worded obviously in a very polite way, and it's not against the clients that we have right now. It's just like we are running a business lah. Because actually, like similar, like the person that didn't pay me on time, he said something very similar to me as well, where he was like, you should be grateful. He said something like, I'm taking a chance on you, you should be grateful. And I was like, grateful for doing free work is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I am not grateful for doing free work, especially when I didn't agree that it was going to be free work. So now we have a lot of things in place, but if it really comes to it, for sure I'll take legal action. Because it's like the livelihood of my team. Like I cannot afford to just let everyone do this and like it's whatever. Unless it's like I really understand the circumstances you're in, I'm completely happy, but my whole thing is have it in writing. So if you really say that by this date I can pay, I want to write it down and I want you to sign saying that you can.
Yeah.
If not, then I will not take your word for it at face value lah. Because it's a business then it will be very dangerous. Yeah.
Correct. It's gonna affect yourself, your cash flow,
correct. My
your
team,
mental
our
health,
overhead, everything. Yeah,
that
correct.
is the most important thing,
Correct. It's
'Cause
really horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to ask you quickly, which I think is very important. Coming from a different background, and then you started your own journey, your own company. Let's say today someone tells you that, look, Joanna, I want to do social digital marketing, right? What are the things that you can share with him or her on some tips on, because now it's 2026, right? Things have changed.
Yeah.
Everything is digitalized, most of it, right? And then with the AI coming in, right? So how and to what extent do you think certain tips that can help them to venture into this industry and to be better, like what you're doing right now?
Good question as well. The first I would say is like have savings, not for yourself but for your business. And when I started, I didn't have savings, right? The overhead can be very low, especially if it's just you at the start.
Right.
But when it comes to like you need a new equipment, or like you actually really need to outsource a little bit of help, you are at such a loss when you don't have any money to rely on in those moments.
Correct.
And it makes a world of a difference. Like it's such a big difference. Like even for me, when I finally saved up enough to get our first DSLR, the difference in production was insanely different. Like it was such a big jump that I really realized, like I kept telling my husband at the start, I was like, I just wish I knew how much sense of like peace of mind I would have if I had a bit of savings for this business. So that's the first thing I would say. It's like, start saving as early as you can. Just like, even if you have no intention to be an entrepreneur one day, start saving just in case. Like save separately just in case you want to do something cool. And then second of all, it would be diversify your skills as much as you can. Because marketing, right, again, I truly believe the learning curve is like, it can be steep depending on what you do,
right,
but the entry point is very low. So the market is quite oversaturated. I still think there's enough room for everyone to exist and for enough like people to serve enough people. But I will say like, you want to make sure that you have the internal confidence in your skill set. And that comes in time and in a lot of practice and with a lot of work. So like put in the time to learn as many different skill sets as you can. Also because when you do inevitably become an employer, it's so much easier. There's such a shift in dynamics when your team who does something so different can come to you and genuinely ask you, what do I do here? And you can give an answer and be certain that your answer is correct. Or you can feel strongly about your answer. And it's because you've been there and you've tried that and you've done it. Because it's very hard to manage a team. It's not impossible, but it's harder and more complex when you're managing a team and the types of challenges they are facing are outside of yourself. You've never experienced them before. You can still give them a unique perspective, but I think it adds a bit of value when you understand the limitations they're facing because you've been there. So I would say like try to learn as many skills as you can that are relevant to your end goal. And I think that's really important. Doing courses, upskilling, learning, there's so many resources that make it so easy nowadays. And I think constantly staying updated with what's happening in social media, in the landscape is really important. So like I always encourage my team to constantly follow, like for example, Instagram CEO. I always tell them like he's constantly talking about algorithmic changes. I'm like, follow him. I want you to know the first hand of like information from him. And as soon as that happens, you can advise our clients accordingly. So like really know what you're doing. And then also just like have fun. Like it's so much fun. Running your own business is fun because it's hard, but it's fun because it's good. Like it's so fulfilling and you actually get to, my favorite thing about it is like, you're not only responsible for making your life better, but your client's life and also your team's life. You work really hard and other people get to take from that, and that's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Like if you are true to your goals and you actually sit and stay the course, like someone else gets to benefit from it also, which is such a cool thing. You're like expanding, you're making lives better, and I love that.
The team.
Yeah, correct. And like you get to pay fair wages and all these things, right? You get to be the change you wish to see. I think it's such a good feeling. And then ultimately, I would say, hold on to your ethics even if it gives you a loss. Like you can never exchange ethics for anything. And there are so many agencies, but there are not so many ethical agencies, which is one of the reasons I wanted to start my own agency. There are a lot of rich CEOs, but ethics are always kind of taking the back seat when it's easier. I will say like at your expense also, hold your ethics lah. Because at the end of the day, no one's gonna say for sure this business will be forever.
Correct.
But like your personality is forever, your character is forever. And it's like, if your business does fail, at least it's in good conscience for you. Like you know that you did it right. I will say like those are the important things for me lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think we're done with this. I think it's very informative, right? I really grateful for you to join us, Joanna.
Yeah,
today.
thank you so much. I had so much fun.
And also all praise to Ivan for being very supportive, right? And then also Joanna, just one last thing.
Yep.
Again, just want to wish you all the best for
Thank
your
you.
own business. And,
that's so kind. Thank
hopefully
you.
the next time we meet again is going to be double up of team size.
Next time I'll be saying how to become a millionaire. Here's my tips.
Yeah.
This is the next episode.
Yeah, really good to see you striving.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
Thank you.
Such a cool space and everything.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No worries.
So I think we'll just end here today.
Yep, sounds good.
And of course, if anyone who is watching this video, if you are interested to follow Joanna on her journey, you can follow on LinkedIn, her Instagram, which we'll put down below later here.
Yes.
Right, and then basically you can just drop her a text if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
And then, are you looking for any new staff or employees and whatnot?
We are hiring designers, account managers.
Right.
Honestly, I'm always open. Anyone that refers people to me, I always try to make some space for them. So just try. Yeah, just DM me and try.
Okay, I'll just put the email there.
Yes,
okay.
Ken.
All right, Ken. Thank you, everyone. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed this very good session with
thank
Joanna.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.